What's up, everybody? Behind me, that's a Honda CT125 Hunter Cub. Now, it's a cousin, same platform as the regular C125 Super Cub, but with a bit of an off-road twist to it. I'm going to talk about this bike and let you know what my thoughts are on it.
Let's start with some specifications for the 2022 Hunter Cub. This underbone is powered by a 125cc air-cooled single-cylinder engine, putting out 8.7 horsepower and 11 Nm of torque at max efficiency, using basically the same engine as the 2020 Super Cub. It comes with a 4-speed semi-automatic transmission with a centrifugal clutch, is fuel-injected with an electric start and a backup kickstart, has a 5.3 litre fuel tank, gets 17-inch spoked wheels front and back, and weighs in at 117 kilograms wet. Definitely heftier than the Super Cub itself. The Hunter Cub gets a single caliper disc brake front and back with always-on ABS at the front. On top of that, almost every CT125 Hunter Cub is going to come with a generously large base plate behind it, capable of fitting a mini fridge or just tying down your suitcase and camping gear. Considering its gross vehicle weight rating of 236 kilograms minus its wet weight, the Hunter Cub can carry as much as 120 kilos, inclusive of the rider, which is a lot to be packed into such a small bike. You get around 16.5 centimeters of ground clearance and a pair of IRC GP5 dual sport tires as stock.
Alright, so we are looking first at the dashboard and the controls of the CT125 Hunter Cub. It's a bit raining, so apologies for the water and the reflection making it a bit hard for you to see. The CT125, unlike the C125 Super Cub, is actually using a traditional keyed ignition. So for all of those of you who are on traditional motorcycles, this is not going to be very confusing. It's very easy to operate, at least the ignition. Let's start with the controls first. Just like the regular C125 Super Cub, you've got your high beam, low beam, your horn, and your turn signals. Of course, as usual, being an underbone, it has no clutch on the left side. Right side, you've got your kill switch, ignition button, brake lever, standard, as usual, the rear brake pedal, as well as the heel toe shifter, as you would often find on most underbones like the Super Cub and the Hunter Cub. Now, on to the main important thing to show you is the dashboard. I think it's a very nice, very retro, clean looking dashboard. I kind of like this look. It's very beautiful, very nicely crafted. There is only 2 buttons here, which is to either cycle through your odometer and your 2 trip meters, and then of course this is to reset any of the trip meters that you have running. It's got a digital speedometer, of course no tachometer, just like the C125 Super Cub. Because the engine, like I said, with the C125, the power all comes down low. You can butt dyno it very easily. There's absolutely no need to look at the tachometer on bikes like this. When you pull the throttle open, there's power. If you're not moving, that means you're in a gear that's too high, then just downshift. Very standard. It's got ABS light, the high beam light, turn signal light, check engine light, neutral light. Very basic. Of course, there's a fuel gauge on top as well, and that's all there is to the digital cluster for the Hunter Cub 125.
When it comes to straight line speed on tarmac, I can safely say you are going to struggle getting past 80 kilometers on flat roads with no headwind. However, the power delivery is incredibly punchy at first gear and still relatively movable from a dead stop at second gear. You don't get as much in terms of fuel economy as the lighter and higher geared Super Cub, averaging at about 60 kilometers per litre in the city with plenty of start and stop traffic. But it is still a very generous number for a bike that came with dual sport tyres stock. That means on a full tank, you can travel a hefty 300 kilometers in between fill-ups, which is often a figure difficult to reach with these smaller non-touring focused bikes. The brakes aren't amazing. They are well suited to the average finger strength of riders when off-road requiring a light touch, and do well enough at slow speeds while unloaded on tarmac. But the single caliper brakes call for a bit more brute force on the lever to stop it otherwise. The CT125 Hunter Cub is also often marketed as being a lightweight adventure motorcycle, and it certainly does try to fit in components that veer it towards that sort of application. While technically capable of going off-road, the idea of adventuring motorcycling by your average buyer has to change a little bit. It does have decent ground clearance. I managed to hop up and down the typical 6-inch high curbs around Tokyo easily. It does have better suspension suited to off-roading than the Super Cub does, with longer travel and softer springs. And its lower gearing definitely helps with grunting up hills that a Super Cub isn't as good at. But this is pretty much where it ends. You see, 4.3 inches of suspension travel on a bike that can only haul itself in first gear at 15 kilometers per hour isn't what the white-collar market in the developed world thinks of when they want an adventure motorcycle. Instead of 60 km per hour flat-out runs on straight dirt roads with fast climbs, there has to be a fundamental shift in mindsets towards expecting to ride it like a tractor in India, where you sit down and slowly pedal your way up muddy inclines. However, it is not exactly entirely feature poor for off-road applications. It gets a high-mounted exhaust and a snorkel for the airbox, and while they are not amazingly high by virtue of how short the entire bike is, you'll still be able to engage in water crossings with the big boys and keep dust away from your air filter on dirt roads. One last thing about the air filter for off-roaders that need to do constant maintenance on it by themselves and often by the roadside is that while it does not require some insanely overcomplicated ritual to access compared to modern adventures bikes like my Ducati Scrambler, accessing it still necessitates undoing not just the side panel over the airbox cover, but the base plate and cover as well to totally undo the airbox cover. Though you could probably pry it open wide enough to stick a few fingers in to grab the air filter without removing the base plate. Otherwise, if it is something that does annoy you, there are plenty of aftermarket airbox covers you can buy to circumvent all that, as there are no essential components in the way. Hey there everyone, RP here. If you are enjoying what you see and would like to support me and my motorcycling channel, do help me out by heading over to my store to get a t-shirt, mugs, or stickers, what have you. Links are in the description below, and let's get back to the show. Coming from a 180 cm tall man, weighing in at 75 kilograms, the CT125 is incredibly comfortable. The seat is wide and plush, and there is plenty of legroom, and the handlebars are high enough and wide enough to control easily. However, the ergonomics of the bike itself is also the reason why I said there has to be a change in mindset toward a sit down and grind up hills riding style. The bars are far too short for you to stand up and maintain any decent level of control over it. It also comes with grooved foot pegs underneath a removable rubber bung for riding off-road. They are incredibly tiny for what it is supposed to be used for, but it is better than nothing. Besides, it is not like you will be standing on them anytime soon. The heel-toe shifter for the CT125 is a tad bit difficult to operate while wearing boots, just like the Super Cub. The front portion to shift up a gear isn't a problem as well, but the heel pedal is tucked even closer to the bodywork of the bike itself, more so than the Super Cub. making full contact with the center of your heel while in boots difficult and requiring you to hit it with the edge of your boot heel. While you don't get the chance to add a passenger seat to the CT125, the big base plate as well as the plethora of aftermarket mounting options means you can carry a lot, and I do mean a lot of stuff on your CT125. I've seen racks for the front of the bike, for the side of your forks, and saddlebags that can be mounted not just under the rear rack, but across the step-through frame as well. And all that is in addition to the large base plate provided to you stock. The ride quality on the CT125 itself isn't even that bad with the GP5 tires. It does vibrate a bit at the handlebars while on the move, but it certainly isn't the most uncomfortable machine I've ridden long distances with. Honda's Hunter Cub, with its bare-bones bodywork, has this feel of a down-to-earth, no-nonsense, brutalist aesthetic to it, with a touch of retro to it with the rubber accordion front suspension tubes. Everything about it screams practical, 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 and that look is no lie. The lack of unnecessary bits sticking out make it incredibly rugged a motorcycle throw around in the dirt, and also an incredibly easy bike to work on that your mechanic will thank you for. It is certainly a machine that will charm anyone with an interest in Soviet-era cars. The Honda CT125 Hunter Cub is lightweight, but it is no adventure bike, at least not in the way people think an adventure bike should be. It isn't geared great for any sort of long distance riding, and doesn't have the capability to take bumps and carry speed off-road either. But it is a very simple bike to work on, and a very simple bike to operate. While it isn't the cheapest bike in the economy underbone market, it is still very affordable in the grand scheme of things. Personally, I view the Hunter Cub as a great choice for people looking for practical and lightweight means of transportation on unpaved surfaces. That means using them as pit bikes, or for doing rounds around farms, or patrolling swaths of undeveloped land, or even as a motor camping workhorse. If you felt my review of the 2022 Honda CT125 Hunter Cub was useful, do remember to give me a like and thumbs up, and remember to subscribe for more motorcycling content. And do remember to leave a comment down below if you wish to correct any mistakes I made or ask any question about the CT125. This has been RP, and I'll see you next time. Peace out. Bye bye.